Today we're going to be sizing up the hip and thigh area of this dress by adding a gusset to it. And a gusset is just like a piece of fabric that makes it a little bit bigger. I've matched up the fabric. This is a crepe and I've matched it up as well as can be, but we're not too awfully concerned because we really want to match up this lace, and we're going to put the lace over the gusset when we're done. You can see how the lace originally went down the seam. So we're going to do that, and that's going to be covering everything. Let me know in the chat, can you hear me okay? And just welcome back to the channel. I'm so glad to have you. You can always drop some questions in the chat if you have them. And I would love, as always, to hear where everybody is from and what your sewing level is. And even if you've put it in before, just put it in whenever you join a live stream so that other people on the call will know. All right, so I'm going a little bit past the seam here, and I'm going to remember that landmark when I get to the other side. There we go. See that? I just opened all of this up, and my notes say we're going to grow this by about 1.5 inches. All right, so I've got my crepe. It says we're going to go from the waist all the way down until it flares. See that? Right there. You can see the shape of it. You can tell that's definitely where it flares. So I'm going to want my gusset to terminate somewhere around here, but I'm going to go ahead and let it ease in just a little bit. So I'm going to open this a little bit further. And then we want to make sure to do the same thing to the other side. So I'm going to pull the other side over. Again, we're in the hip and thigh area of this crepe wedding dress. We're kind of letting it out. So we're going to go down to here. This is how we know we've gone the right length, as we just lay them up beside each other, and that'll tell us. Welcome everybody popping on. Good to see you all. Let me know where you're from. And are you sewing with me today, or are you just watching? Maybe you're watching the grandkids and you want something playing in the background. Here we go. Let's see. Michigan, Jacksonville, Florida. Nice. Is your weather as nice as ours? Oh, it's so wonderful. We've got this like beautiful, beautiful break from the heat, and I'm just so happy about it. So look, this is scraps that I'm using. We got some scraps here. All right, let's see. I'm trying to find some long pieces, and they have to kind of be going in the same direction because crepe can have a little bit of a nap to it. So we want to make sure we don't have it looking bright down one leg and dark down the other. Do remember though, it's not going to super matter because we're going to cover it in lace. So this is more of like the structural similarity that we want with having crepe. We just don't want anything jumping out at us. But I'm able to align these selvages, the edges of the fabric. So that's going to help a lot. Going to get these lined up. And you can do this either with pins or the Wonder Clips. Don't you love Wonder Clips? I will say they're a little bit overpriced, and I'm not saying that specifically about a brand. I don't know what you call these, sewing clips or something, if you talk outside of what the brand is. This top piece goes over a little bit further than the bottom, but I think we've got it. All right. Here we go. So again, 1.5 wide, the whole length of it. So we have plenty. So much fun. Hey, Mystical, welcome back. You're amazing too. Thank you so much. Let's see. Debbie's asking, where did the crepe come from? Is it cut from this dress? It's not cut from this dress. This is some random crepe I had around here, and it matches okay. That's all I'm going for. Does it match okay? All right, again, here's my super fancy way of measuring the fabric length that I need. I'm going to go up here and down here. That's how long my gusset will be. Mystic, oh my goodness, you gave me a super chat. Thank you so much. Guys, just being here is a tremendous support, but I really am so grateful when you give me financial support like that. It just keeps us going, doesn't it? All right, so again, my note said 1.5 wide. So the way we're going to do it is we're going to come down a little bit longer than what we need. And you know what, guys, this is the perfect test. Let me know. My lawn guide just showed up with a weed eater, okay? But I got these Rode lav mics the other day. And so with the lav mics, I should be able to keep the AC running, have a weed eater going on outside, have traffic going by, and you not hear it. Let me know in the chat. Can you hear the weed eater? This is going to be a perfect test. I would love to hear whether or not you can hear it. So what I like to do when I have a big piece of scrap fabric, you know how it kind of fights you? I like to just go ahead and cut off, you know, if I have plenty, and I do. I like to cut off a little bit more than what I need so I can fine tune this shape without stuff like pulling, you know? Oh, good, Marissa, you can't hear the weed eater. Yay! DIY creation, welcome. Nice. Thank you so much for the super chat, Mystical. All right, so I'm going to flip this because remember the top side was a little bit wider than the bottom side. You still can't hear the weed eater because he's right outside my window. Oh, wow, DIY creation from India. Nice. Do you have a channel? I have to check out. If you have a channel, I have to check out your channel. Do you just watch on YouTube or do you create also? Okay, Lori can hear it, but it's not overwhelming. Nice. Barbara can't hear it and Kiona can't hear it. Lori passed the hearing test today. She's hearing better than us. Thank you, though, guys, for letting me know that. It's got to be way better, though, than if I just had, like, the sound picking up everything, you know? So the whole thing with this crepe is, as you can tell, it wants to roll. So when I'm pinning this together, I'm not just keeping it from creeping. The weight of it is also kind of keeping it from rolling. So that's the reason why I'm using so many pins. I actually don't normally use that many pins. They say to sew quickly, you want to use fewer pins. Pinning takes a lot of time, as you know. All right, so let's say this is going to be the top part of this, okay? Let's see. DIY creations. I've also created a sewing channel. Congratulations on the 19th. So you created it just last month. Congratulations and welcome. All right, so 1.5, and we need our seam allowances. And usually on the thigh, sewing with Ceci. It's so good to see you, honey. Love these lives. I love them too. Keep in mind, guys, they're every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, almost always at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This Monday coming up, though, remember I have my fitting room finesse boot camp. That starts at 1. So I have to start my live at noon on Monday. But I'll program it ahead of time so you can see that for a reminder. But put me in the calendar, noon on Monday, okay? And then Wednesday and Friday of next week, it'll be back to the 1 p.m. Eastern Standard. So, yes, Kiona, the clips um, take so much less time. Oh, DIY Creations also takes orders for shops and wedding orders. Awesome. How many of you in the chat do actually do wedding sewing? Like any type of bridal sewing? You're like a wedding vendor with your sewing. I would love to hear that because I know some of you are. So with this top, I know this bride needed a little bit of space. Demetra, of course you do. She's the OG. Demetra's in the house. Lori, you as well. So I'm going to give her a little space at her waist, but remember, we're going to want to have like maybe like 5/8 / 3/4 of an inch seam allowance because that's what we do usually at the side seam. So I'm not going to do that on each side because these seam allowances accumulate if we need to let out. But yeah, we need to go a little bit wider than what we would normally do. So we're going to swing out at first a little bit because that's where her hip's going to be. And then we're picturing her thighs now. And now we're coming down into the taper zone. All right, we're going to be tapering to almost nothing, right? Let's come across here. The almost nothing means like just enough to sew it in. And then I'm going to copy that angle that I just did. We're going to make sure we don't strike that pin there. Typically, I would fold this over and mirror it. But this fabric, as you can see, is just so roly-poly. Now, what I'm doing is roughly 1.5 inches, right? To let it out like we were planning. But I'm going to put this on her and then make fitting notes just as I would as if she was in a dress that was a little bit too big and the hips and thighs needed to be shaped to her. So that's how I'm going to do that. Let's get these pins and my little pin cushion over here. Let's see. My name is Venetia. Welcome, Venetia. From Indian Rajasthan. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Faryal, hello. I love to watch your videos. I'm learning fashion designing and wanted to work on bridal dresses. Oh, you are in the right place. This is the place. Nice to have you. Marissa, not a professional, but a seamstress for more years than I can remember. Just finishing my 8th wedding gown. Wow. So you're, what do they call that? Like an advanced sewing enthusiast, I think is the category for that, where you could technically, with your skill level, you would be like a professional seamstress. It's just you're not running a full-time sewing shop. That's the only difference there, right? So that's how I would probably describe it. So Elizabeth is doing some bridal sewing. Let's see. Maybe I sew heavy clothes with pear work. Bead work. Are you trying to say bead work? Looks like maybe a typo. All right, guys, let's sew this in. I'm going to bring you down a little bit here. Get you a little bit closer if I can. Have some patience with my earthquake, okay, guys? Here we go. Get you up here. Nice. Here we go. Okay, so when we're sewing on the outside of a dress, did you guys see my short yesterday? I did a short about changing your needle. Oh my goodness. I had a dress that the fabric, it was Mikado, by the way, which is very unforgiving in terms of if the fabric gets like nicked or whatever, it's pretty unforgiving. I had a Mikado dress and a different seamstress had worked on it before me. She really botched it. It's so sad. She didn't know to shorten the waist and lower the apex of the bust. And so she did the thing that stylists always recommend outside of their lane, you know. They get out of their lane and they say, oh, all you do is just pull the straps up real high. So she pulled the straps really, really high, which means the girl's bust was like all the way up to her shoulders and it looked ridiculous. But the seamstress cut the straps off, guys. Oh no. So the bride brings it to me. It fits terribly. Oh, and the seamstress took it way in, like way too far in. So I had to undo the straps, however it was she did them. And I had to add like literally a segment this big on each top of shoulder so that the straps would drop the dress down far enough for the bride to hit. I'm having a time with this needle, guys. But anyways, the seamstress before me had used a old needle. I might have to swing you to the side and get my face up in here because I am really struggling. I don't normally struggle like this. This is crazy. Let me just do this real quick. I'm sorry. Oh goodness. I don't know what's wrong with this needle. It's like the eye. Oh my gosh, the eye is impossibly small. All right. Welcome back. Sorry about that. I had to just like put my head way down under there. Let me read your chat for just a second. Let's see. Everybody is viewing. Why are they not commenting? Yeah, guys, comment. Debbie, you're right. You never cut that strap. That's right. If you have to, and it's like right before the wedding and the bride is okay with it, go ahead and cut it then. But you don't cut it before the alterations are resolved. That was just terrible. Let's see. Callista, that's exactly what I was talking about. What do I consider an old needle? This is what I talked about in the short yesterday. Let me see if I can, I don't know if I can zoom you in. Yeah, okay. You see that right here? You change your needle often and then you bring your finger down like this. Let me show you. You're gonna go like this and just practice with it. When I have new girls here, I do this with their finger. I say, give me your hand, and I go like this. And so I'm not like jabbing, I'm not going in reverse. I'm coming back this way, and you will feel a burr if this is old and not sharp. You'll just instantly feel it. And then you just chuck it. So I do always check my needle for burrs just like this before I start sewing on the outside of a fabric that's kind of a little bit unforgiving, like this crepe or a Mikado. If it's like some type of a, I don't know, a little bit heavier duty fabric that's more forgiving, and you're going to have lace completely covering it. It's like 3 layers under. It doesn't matter quite so much. It still matters a little bit because you can get those. Have you guys seen it where you get the little all through it, the little pulls? You definitely don't want that. But yeah, so you check your needle like that always before working on the outer layer of a garment. And that seamstress also did not do that. She didn't check it. So when she let the girls dress out, you'll see it. It's my most recent short. There's tracks down the side seam of all these holes in it. She absolutely ruined the dress. So, good news is, I'll tell you how I handled it. Number one, wherever there was, let's pretend like there's like a little cut piece right here. I came at it just barely from the side. I did not touch the flame to it. I got it close to it till the little fuzzy spot, I saw it like shrivel up, and just tap it. That got rid of a lot of the fuzzes. And then also, the bride is just going to lose weight. She wanted to. I would never ask a bride to lose weight, but she wanted to lose weight. So she's absolutely doing that. And then so we can take it back into the original size. So it's not going to matter. But if it had to be worn with those tracks, I told my daughter when I was looking at it, I said I would absolutely do whatever I had to do to replace this dress. If I was the bride, I would not wear the dress like this. Um, just because, like, how embarrassing. It looks like you had to have your dress let out and nobody even cleaned up the seams afterward. It's just so sad. So I'm glad she doesn't have to face that decision, but I would have just gotten a new dress. So yeah, so that's what that short was about. So some people change their needle. If you want to ask about how often, some people change their needle just when they start a new project. I'll tell you, I change my needle when I'm sewing here easily 3 or 4 times a day. So like when someone says to me, and don't feel ashamed, I hear this all the time, they'll say, oh, I've never changed my needle and my machine's a year old. People do say that, you know, it's kind of like somebody who's like, oh, yeah, my car is 3 years old and I've never changed the oil. And you're like, oi, okay. All right, so I overshot the length of this, but remember, I didn't cut it using any type of rocket science or measuring. This is, after all, full-time sewing shop, so we got to be in a hurry, right? It's got to look good, but it's got to be fast. So right where this is going to hit, I want to find the center of this, and I'm going to make sure it hits on the center. So I'm going to taper in and hit at that center, okay? Now you're going to see it again coming from the other direction. This is your side seam. Again, remember, it's not a perfect match. This is just a scrap that I have, and it's going to be covered in lace. Was that loud? I would like to know. Did you just hear a big old loud rustle? I hit the dress to my lav mic, and I would love to hear what that was like for you guys. We're testing out my new lav mic. All right, so I'm going to start from the bottom instead of the top. And I have this seam allowance to the left. The other seam allowance of the dress is to the right. And I'm starting just a little bit below where my stitch terminated, okay? And I'm going to come in and meet that stitch exactly. I landed right on the last stitch of that seam. Now I want to grow out at the same rate that I did before. So starting about right here is when I'm going to be within about a 1/4 inch or so. All right, here we go. And remember, this is just in preparation for a fitting. So this crepe is almost like a placeholder, I would say, because we need to see how this is going to fit on her. And we want it just a little bit, is that a 1/4 of an inch? It's a little bit more overhanging than a 1/4 inch. Okay. Here we go. We're getting near the top. Then we're going to have a little look. And then I have another placeholder for, oh, it sounds different. I wonder if I'm about to run out of bobbin thread. I always hear that before I see it. Do you guys do that? You can hear it sounds different. Oh, there it is. Look. We ran out. Isn't that funny? You can hear it before you see it. If you've never noticed that before, see if you notice it. I'm going to change my bobbin here. This is a great drill, guys, for speed. Practice changing your bobbin without looking. Okay, so I don't look. I just do this and I go under the machine and set it in there. And it was like instant. Like I didn't even have to fumble around. You can do a drill and learn where that bobbin is so that you can change it out really fast. So you're not fidgeting with all of this stuff. Huge time saver. As you can tell, I am so big on time saving hacks. Because if you're going to be a professional sewist or even just, a hobby sewist who produces a lot, if that's going to be you, you want to know all the quick ways to do stuff that still looks fabulous. So that's what I'm into. We're almost there. Almost there. Tell me, what is the most difficult sewing project you've ever done? In terms of like, I want to hear two different ones and I'll let you pick, okay? Do you want to tell me about the one that was like the most advanced level challenging, kind of stressed you out a little bit? Do you want to tell me about that? Like the technique and I don't know, just the project itself was so challenging. Like I did this pea coat that had these whatever kind of pockets and all that. That, or you can just talk about your most frustrating experience. It could have been an apron, but it frustrated you to no end because you were new at sewing and you chose the wrong fabric. That kind of thing. Do you get what I mean? All right, so now we're going to go down the other leg, and I'm just going to read through your comments real quick. See where we're at. And they're not coming up. I don't understand. It did that the other day. I'll have to stand up and look at the comments. Hang in there with me, guys. Don't drop off. I promise I'm going to start sewing again in just a minute. Let's see. Yeah, Marissa, the worst is trying to fix someone else's mistakes. That is so frustrating. Yeah. DIY creation. Bye. It was great having you. Let's see. Sewing with Ceci says, my friend in Florida kept wondering why her stitches were bad and bunching. I asked her, had she changed her needle? And she said, no. Why would I do that? That's so funny. So now she changes after she makes a garment. That's so funny. That's so classic, Christine from Mount Vernon, Ohio, professional wedding gown seamstress, 35 plus years in the industry. I love watching your videos. Well, I love having you, Christine. Let's see. Oh, Elizabeth knows that sound. Yeah, about running out of bobbin thread. Isn't it handy? Bye, Lori. Oh, goodness. Debbie, her most difficult one was a size 4 dress down to a 00, appliqued completely. Oh, my goodness. Let's see. No Average Girl. Welcome back, No Average Girl. Mother of the Bride's dress, heavily beaded. Okay, hot take. I feel like Mother of the Bride dresses are the most frustrating in the social sense. I just feel like the mothers are just, I don't know. They all feel really awkward and they're going to be in pictures and they're like dealing with like, oh, I've got this menopausal weight or whatever. They're all shocked at how much the alterations cost. They're losing their baby. I just feel like there's so many reasons for them to be so frustrated with the experience. So I don't blame them, but we still have to like kind of facilitate the process for them. And so we tend to end up being kind of like the bad guy to a lot of them. And, it's the kick the dog scenario. They, has a bad day at work and comes home and kicks the dog. It's that kind of feeling that I get from working with Mothers of the Bride. And so I stopped working with them. They were like the first, when I decided I was going to go bridal, you over time, you categorically eliminate groups of client work. And so my first category I eliminated was the mothers. I was like, I am over this. They're mad at the price. They're mad at this jerk their daughter's marrying, and, you know, they bring all this. I'm not saying they're all that way, but when you have trouble with one, they bring all of this, you know, heavy baggage to the appointments, and I just can't. And they actually usually have more body image issues than my young brides. Because they're just like, I'm going to be photographed, and I hate my arms, and I hate my belly, and I hate my everything. They just go on and on about this self-loathing. And I can't sew away self-loathing. That's just work that they've got to do. And I relate. I mean, I totally relate. I don't look the way I looked when I was 22 and got married. And it is hard to go through those physical changes, but I don't want to be stressed out over somebody else going through it. Like, I'm not your therapist. All right, so here we are flipping it again. Okay. And right here, I'm going to put it right here. Then I'll show you too how I come in at the bottom to make sure it's very secure. All right. So I've got my left narrow foot on here, or the left zipper foot. It has different names. I love it. It lets me get so close to my work. Same thing, I'm going to see at what point was I fully out to the size of the gusset. Come on, people. All right. Have any of you ever gusseted a gown before? Let me know if you've had to let out a gown with gussets. Or is this like a new... Okay, I would not let this go if it was my final sew of this. It's a little pucker. I would absolutely stop, unpick that, and redo it. I am not going to do that today because remember, this doesn't count. So literally just so she can try it on. So we'll be coming back and adjusting it, I'm sure. I don't ever put in a gusset and it's like 100% right and contoured to her the first time. It's always requires a little bit of the fine tuning. I tell them it's like motor skills. You've got your gross motor skills and your fine motor skills. And just getting you in it, that's your gross alterations. And then you have your fine alterations. This has a little bit of stretch to it too. So I think this is going to be like super forgiving for her. Yay. There we are. Now I'm going to show you the bottom. Okay, so here's our little place where we were tapering into. So you've seen this left one at work. I'll show you how close the right one lets you get. All right. I'm going to pull this over and set this on top of the seam like an inch down from where we want to end up. Let's see, where does this end up? Right here. And put a little stop there. Reverse, reverse, reverse. Got this. Here we go. I'm going to leave this little tail here because when she tries it on, we might be like, oh, we need to go a few inches further down. So I want to have that option there easily. Okay. And then this needs to be, we also had to let out her shoulders. She needs like this much extra space. So just for the fitting, because we haven't matched this lace yet, just for the fitting, I'm going to put in a couple of segments of ribbon just to hold it for her. And this is an important part of the fitting too, because I can adjust the length of this ribbon and it's going to tell me next time how big the shoulder gusset needs to be. Does that make sense? So you want to save time, but give them a phenomenal fit. And that's what we're doing here. I'm safety pinning this on. It's saving me time, because why should I sew all this in such an ornate, detailed way and then be like, oh, it doesn't fit? Well, yeah, we knew that. So this is how she's going to try it on, just like this. And then I'm going to adjust this as needed. And this is going to be my guide the next time she comes in. That's how that works. Exciting things. These fittings. Are you doing any fittings today? Let me know in the comments. Even if it's yourself. I did a little bit of that earlier today. I needed to fit something to myself. So let me see. Where does this go? I think it goes. Yeah, it goes right here. I hope I did the other one right. Earlier today, I was having to adjust the clothes that I wore to work. I was like, this is not going to fly. So I was like altering all my own clothes. Let's see. Yeah, I did that right. She had a small bust adjustment right there. So we've got the cups pinned for temporary. And then once we know this is right, all of this is going to be sewn down. You guys know about small bust adjustment though, because of what I featured. What was it? Last Monday and Wednesday? Yeah, this Monday and Wednesday had a small bust adjustment. So that's what we do. We snip so that we can like overlap to the left, overlap to the right. That way you don't have some straight line where you sew it back down. It's kind of sing-song, and the layers are taking turns being on top, and that's a very convincing look. I don't care to have a bunch of straight pins in my bride's dresses. They will stab themselves. So here I go. Are you guys liking these vertical live streams? I think it's so interesting that YouTube is doing this. It's not horizontal, it's vertical, so it's made more for mobile. Let me know in the comments. It'll be very helpful to know. Are you guys actually on your phones? Just say, yes, I'm on my phone, or say like, I'm on my tablet, my iPad, my laptop, whatever. Let me know what you have, what your situation is. And then drop any questions you have in there. That was it as far as my sewing is concerned. I'm going to look through your questions and do a quick Q&A. If you don't have a question, you still want to stay on, because someone else will probably think of a question that you wished you had thought of, and it will be quite helpful for you. So stay on and get your questions answered. Sometimes I can even sketch out the answers for you. Ah, this is going to look so much better on her. So excited for this fitting today. She comes this afternoon. I have like, I forget, I think 3 fittings today. 3 fittings this afternoon. I had an initial consult this morning, but no fittings this morning. Oh, let me show you the sides, how they look. This is how they look. That's how a gusset looks. Can you see it? Let me turn you. That's how the gusset looks. And then once we fit it to her, the lace is not going to just stop here. This is going to be entirely covered in lace. We're getting like plenty of this lace and running it all the way down. So that's what the gusset looks like. I'll keep that there for anybody who just happens to be joining in. Again, thank you so much, Mystical, for the super chat. You're so generous. It like makes me feel bad. You're so generous. Let's see. I'm going back. Let's see. Read all of these. Okay. Oh, Debbie says she has done numerous gussets. Elizabeth, yes, the baggage and the body image. Like, we can't fix that. You can't even focus on fitting them. You're right. Oh, okay. So you just raise your price for the extra time, as opposed to categorically eliminating them. It's all fair. Everybody's got a different approach. Um, how do any of you price for mother's dresses? They're so complicated with breeds, trains that need bustled or cut off, horsehair hems. Ugh. Okay, so the person who asked that, that's kind of strange. There's no username. I've not seen that before. But basically, when I did mother's dresses, I priced them straight out like I would any other sewing in my shop, because it is just as involved as a wedding gown, except for it's messier because you've got colored threads and you've got to clean all your equipment after to switch back over to bridal. So absolutely you have to charge the same rate. Like, you can't help it, right? Elizabeth just last night gusseted an armhole in a bridal gown. That gives them so much more range of motion. Um, yes, exactly, because they're white bridal gown but are colored instead. It's hard to charge what I should. You just have to do it, and they get to the point where they're like, that's ridiculous. I'm not paying that, but you can't back off of your price, because what you can't have, and this is what I coach a lot of times with sewing business, you cannot stay up till 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and make a minimum wage. Susanna, are you on the call, girl? She turned that around. She's doing a lot better, my girl. But actually, a lot of you guys have been through that. I have been through that, where I'm charging like not enough because of the client pressure. But if you do a really good job sewing and somebody has the money and they appreciate your work, they won't even flinch when you give them the price. And that's the customer you want. If any of you are dealing with just the social pressure of underpricing, feeling like you need to underprice yourself, I have a video called I Hope I Make You Cry. Definitely watch that, and it will help you so much. So loves that shoulder ribbon idea. Debbie, same price, same work. Christine, 2 to 4 fittings Monday through Saturday. Oh, wow. You're keeping it rolling. MDB, gorgeous sewing machine, looks antique. Thank you. I just finished this. Let me see if I can tilt you up. I just finished her a few weeks ago, and I love her. I know that not everybody's going to love her, but I love her. And she's a Juki DDL 5550N. Most people just get the Juki 8700 now, is the kind of similar. And I was just tired of doing ivory on white. I was like, I want my machine and my table to be dark to give me contrast. And I did. I styled it after that vintage look. So thank you. Marissa, I'm so glad you liked the ribbon time saver. Let's see. TG, you made your own wedding dress. That's awesome. Congratulations. Oh my goodness, I'm so behind on these chats. Oi. Okay, let's see. Okay, lots of you are on your phone. TG's finished in a pants jumpsuit. You love the format and you're on your phone. I love to hear that. Kiona, the most difficult dress was making my very first corset for a bridal dress, but once done, it was so satisfying. You're right. There is nothing like fitting a corset to a bride. It is so satisfying. Christine is asking, how close am I going to match the gusset lace to the existing? I'm pretty much going to buy this lace. I'm going to find this lace. I'll find it on Etsy just fine. The lace shops there. So I'm going to order it and have it come in. She doesn't get married until April of next year. So we're trying to get the dress kind of generally to fit her. And then we're going to work on the sourcing and the fine tuning of the fit. Maybe, midwinter. That's kind of the pacing for this one. Let's see. Yes, TG, do it. She's thinking of making plus size dresses. It's so needed. Let's see. Oh, so you just asked this question, where will I find the lace to perfectly match? Etsy. Yep. Elizabeth says, bust adjustment always makes me nervous. I use safety pins, no fittings today, but I have to get back to some folks. Ah, Elizabeth, I raise the price till they stop laughing. You have to make it worth your time, otherwise you can't stay in business, right? Victoria, I've put in several gussets and I hate puckers. Yes, they do. They do pucker. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this call. I don't see any questions this afternoon. You can always drop them if you're watching the replay, drop them in the comments, and I'm happy to help if your question is detailed enough so that I could. But you guys all have a lovely day. Thank you so, so very much for visiting with me today, and I hope this helps you. Take care. Bye.